Have you ever asked a question about your Amazon business and gotten an answer that just didn't feel right? Well, today I'm going to show you something incredible. What happens when Claude AI just doesn't accept bad data, but actually thinks through the problem like a detective? Hello, my name is Nhan, and I got James Tuxbury with me. Say hello.
Oh,
Uh, and we have sold over $80 million on Amazon since 2012. And if you like this, click like and subscribe to our channel for news and insights on how to be a better Amazon seller. So I asked Claude a simple question. Uh, and the question is, let me pull up the Claude here. How much removal fee did I get charged last month on Amazon? And it was looking through my database using our Amazon MCP. So Amazon Cloud connected to our database, our Seller Central database, and started searching. And then this is where it got interesting. It got back and said that my removal order was charged $32,000 in removal fees last month, which is September 2025. We're in October here. And I pushed back because I definitely didn't get charged $32,000. So that didn't feel right to me. So I said that seems an excessive amount of removal. I did not recall 3,400 removal orders last month. Can you look again? Um, and then what happens next? James is going to show us how Claw starts investigating it like a detective. So go ahead, James. Tell us what happened next.
okay. So yeah, this is a really cool example of Claude that we've seen here. Instead of giving up, like Nan was just showing, instead of giving up, Claude took Nan's hunch of, hey, that's too many orders, and looked at the data again and started investigating. So we can see that Claude uh, went ahead and dug a little deeper into the database and found that it asks to describe the transactions. So
Well, before it got to the transaction, it tried again, and it says that it actually showed that the data shows many individual lines for each SKU rather than unique removal orders.
right.
So the answer got from 32,027 to down a little bit to 23,000, but it's still not correct, right? So, and then
Yeah, so
that I said that still doesn't seem high, and then then what happened next?
right. So after it deduplicated the data a little bit, Non said, no, that still seems too high. So it dug a little deeper, and we can see here that it selected distinct from transactions, which we can see there, where the type was like removal or like capital R removal. This is really cool to see because we didn't ask it specifically to do this. None was just asking it to dig, and it said because before it was referencing that FBA removal view. This time it said, let me just look at the actual transactions where the money is to see how much was charged. So it started there and it
Let's
found,
make sure nobody gets left behind, James, and explain to us what we're looking at here. Like, what is this SQL request execute? What is that? Like, what is this that we're
sure,
looking at here?
right. So this, what we're seeing here is how Claude interfaces with the MCP server. So we can see here that it sent a request which contains a SQL query, which is this basic SQL query we see here, which is saying go to the transactions view, which is where we keep obviously transactions. That's where financial numbers are at, and find transactions that are of type or have a type that contains the word removal, um, either lowercase r or capital R there.
Yep.
But yeah, so it said basically let's look at the transactions and find any transactions that have something to do, the transaction types, not the transactions themselves, just the types of transactions that have to do with removals. And then if we look a little below, we can see here that the response of that query was, hey, we have two types. One is called FBA removal fee, and the other is called removal order lost. So Claude now has that information, and using that information, if we scroll down a bit, we
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
it was Claude wrote this follow-up SQL query, which highlights some cool stuff. Um, so you can see here it's selecting some amount, which is just money. But we can see it's pulling from transactions, which is that table we were just looking at, where type equals FBA removal fee. And then it has some date constraints in there. But this, I wanted to highlight this because in our previous query, it returned two different transaction types. But Claude was smart enough to be like, what we're after is the FBA removal fee, not the removal order loss. So not only did it
That's
find
pretty
both of
awesome.
those transaction types, but it also determined that it was only interested, or we were only interested in the one. And that's what
But it
it
made a
used in the
decision there without us prompting to make that decision, right? Because it knew the
yes,
context in which we were trying to look for it.
exactly correct. And then yeah, so like I was mentioning before, it looked up where the transaction type is that FBA removal fee, and then it also added some date constraints, which is just for the month of September, which is exactly what was asked for. And after running this, it can see you can see there that Claude points out that Non was actually charged $675 and a penny
Yep.
for that month, which is obvious across 151 transactions, which is obviously a massive difference from the original number. So yeah, this is super cool to see.
And we did check with the actual source for how much we were charged for this, and this is the correct amount, $675.01.
Right. So yeah, after checking the info in Seller Central, that lined up to the penny, which is awesome to see. But yeah, basically, this highlights that not only was Claude able to find the problem, but it was able to or go through the transactions view to find what the actual underlying value was, which is very a very nuanced thing that it did to be able to do that because most of it wasn't prompted directly. This was just going off of non-hunch that those numbers were way too inflated.
Yeah, and this is like emergent capabilities that we see in the AI, in particular Claude AI, which is better at coding than ChatGPT, right? That we're seeing these new capabilities come over time. So that's pretty awesome to see that it's able to get the data that we want. Uh, so, like, what just happens?
Yeah. So as a quick summary of what exactly just went down, first of all, Non tried to find some data about his account. That data came back looking extremely inflated. It didn't make sense. Non pushed back and said, "Hey, something's not adding up here." And Claude didn't just blindly report the numbers there. It took the feedback that something looked wrong, dug deeper, uh, realized, hey, maybe let's check since we're after the removal order fee, let's just check the actual transactions where the money is. And it was able to track down what the actual underlying value is essentially on its own, other than being told, hey, that doesn't look right. It wasn't told to go look at transactions. It was none of those, all those calls were made by Claude, just based on its understanding of the underlying data source.
Yep, awesome. So in closing, this is the power of combining Claude with our MCP server. Basically, you get more than just database queries. You get an AI partner that thinks critically about your data and explored bad results and digs until it finds the truth. So you basically get a intelligent analyst as well as a developer that knows SQL in the AI. What you bring is basically your expertise in the Amazon space. So imagine having this kind of intelligent analysis on every question about your Amazon business, including inventory decisions, profitability analysis, advertising performance. So we're just at the beginning stages of exploring these new capabilities. But also keep in mind, like always double check your data before acting on it because AI can make mistakes. That's why we check the sources and understand where the sources are coming from. If you'd like to learn more about this, visit our website, sellerlabs.com/Amazon MCP for more details for how it works, and we'll be producing more content about use cases that it is using this Claude AI to connect to data and getting actionable insights. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.